So, hello, hello all, and welcome you all to the 109th edition of FIREPort 80 in association with NASSCOM. As you know that FIREPort 80 is an technology enthusiast held in Floor of Madness FIRE. So, we will start with an latest tech news which happened in the previous month. So, to show that, I will welcome Aruna Finson for the Tech Bytes.
Hi everyone, myself Arun. I'm here for the latest tech news happening in our world. Here are some. Google said to delete the inactive Google accounts by December 1. Mainly, the users will be noticed before the deletion of their accounts. Uh, Humane unveils their new AI pin, which has no apps, no screen, only voice and hand motions. Uh, there are some exciting features happening, features in this AI pin. ChatGPT makers OpenAI hosts first developer conference at the Developers Day. In their 900 attended, including software developers, attended this event. Uh, in that event, ChatGPT GPT-4 Turbo will be soon available on developer via Azure OpenAI services. They are collaborating with Microsoft for this event. About this is the latest ChatGPT 4 Turbo. It has new exciting features. Will help all the developers and image generation, AI generate image generation people. They are also introducing the ChatGPT store, which can be manually created, and we can customize that at ChatGPT bot and sell it also. And also they have introduced new AI assistant API, which will help the developers to create their own assistants. Uh,
digital helper powered by AI that responds to user questions and commands using a combination of programming, models, tools, and knowledge. Right now, the Assistance API comes with 3 specialized tools. The first one, the code interpreter, lets the AI write and run Python code within a safe, controlled environment. Then there's the retrieval tool, which can sift through vast amounts of documents and files to find information. Lastly, the function calling tool lets the assistant use other companies' APIs. With these capabilities, developers can craft assistants that do a wide range of tasks.
In that event, they have also introduced the DALI 3, which will support text. We can type the text and the text will be shown in the images. This is the first time this type of technology is introduced. It will support also landscape, and it's already supporting other tools. Now it's more advanced and more attractive images. We can create more attractive images. The Hurdles Global 2023 is happening in Vizhinjam, Trivandrum. Our FAYA is also collaborating with this event. On this event, we are unveiling the top 100 coders. This is also collaborating with ULearn and Kerala Startup Mission.
Thank you, Varanav, for the latest updates. And next, we can move to this month's relay, like Playwright versus Selenium versus Cypress, like an automation tools showdown. I think it's a very interesting topic because it's a comparison will always make us more interactive sessions. So for that, I welcome Niji S, who is an lead test engineer in Experion Technologies, who has more than 10 years of experience in this relevant field and have more experience in using automation tools. So I think she can provide more on this. I welcome Niji to this.
Okay. So, good evening all. So, he already mentioned about me. My name is Niji Das and I'm working as a test lead in Experion. And I have a hybrid kind of work experience. I worked in manual as well as automation, and for the past 2 years I was working with Playwright tool. So, today in this session, actually, I want to introduce you to this tool Playwright. So this is becoming one of the major trending tools now available in the market, and so I thought like I can introduce Playwright first, and then we'll go to the comparison with Cypress as well as Selenium. And later we'll be going through some installations of Playwright, and also I'll be checking out some reliable features of Playwright so that you guys can also work around with it. So So what is Playwright? So Playwright is a framework or a tool which is used for web testing automation. Okay, so this is one of the most trending tools now available in the market, and this is obviously it's an open source tool which is developed by Microsoft and it is released in 2020. And this tool is Node.js based and it enables reliable end-to-end testing with its unique features. So the Playwright guys are actually claiming that this tool, this Playwright tool, can help in reliable end-to-end testing. So what is reliable here? So reliable means if you have any background with Selenium automation or any background with automation testing, you might have experienced that whenever you execute a script, at some pinpoint this test might feel like flaky and it might get fail, and for the next run it might pass. So that is called as flaky test. Okay. So these Playwright guys are actually claiming that using this tool, we can actually reduce this flakiness to a very good level so that we can increase the performance of our test scripts. So these are all the basic functions, basic features of Playwright. So whenever we compare, we take a tool for comparison, or when we consider a tool, we'll check out these features like whether it is a cross-browser tool. So Playwright is a cross-browser. It uses Chromium engine and it supports Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Safari, and Opera. We'll come to these points later also. Okay, so this supports cross-platform. That means we can use this tool in Windows, Mac, and Linux. And it supports native mobile emulation, which doesn't mean that it supports mobile automation. Mobile emulation is means if we are having a website and we want to check whether this web application is working fine or looking fine in an Android device or an iOS device. So this Playwright is having an emulator function where we can see like this web application in multiple screen sizes. So that doesn't mean that it supports mobile automation. And this is a cross language supporting tool. It supports TypeScript, JavaScript, Python, .NET, and Java. And even though it supports multiple languages, it is very suitable with. Okay. You can see, as I already mentioned, in 2020 this tool is actually proposed. But now it is only 2023 and you can see the steep increase in the downloads for Playwright. So this shows the shows why this tool is becoming so trendy. Like it's the application to the customers. I mean, everybody is actually asking for Playwright tool. I even have personal experience that nowadays most of the clients are asking whether we have expertise in Playwright tool. So this tool is really growing. Now we can actually compare Playwright along with Selenium and Cypress, and I have selected 10 criteria. These criteria we actually take or consider when we take an automation tool. We will actually check out for these criteria. So I chose these 10 criteria and we can compare it with all these three tools. So whenever we are proposing a tool, the first question arises is like whether this is an open source tool. So these three tools are definitely open source, but Cypress is having a dashboard feature which comes with a price, but they have free plans as well based on the features that we need. Okay, so that decision is with the customers. Some customers might not need the dashboard, so they prefer Cypress. Then the operating system, Selenium supports Windows, Mac and OS, and all the three supports Windows, Mac and OS, Mac and Linux. Sorry, and Cypress supports Mac from 10.9 and above. Okay. Then the browsers, all the three tools supports cross browsers, and in Playwright, actually, they have an inbuilt browser called WebKit. So whenever you install Playwright, there is a default browser. It will be get installed all at a once. So and this WebKit browser runs with a Safari engine. So you don't need to test Safari and then WebKit. The both are same. So either one is needed. So WebKit is by default it will come to your system. And the languages support, all these three tools supports multiple languages, but Cypress actually they support JavaScript and TypeScript only, and both Cypress and Playwright, they both are actually node based, and in Playwright it supports more languages, like it supports Java, Python and .NET. So in the architectural level, these three tools have different protocols. Okay, so I'm not introducing the bulkier architecture with all those block diagrams, but rather than we can quickly understand like what is the basic difference or how it is actually working. So in Selenium, it follows a client server architecture, which means it's having a client and a server. The request will be sending from the client to the server, and the response will be given back, and it communicates with browser specific drivers. That means it directly will not communicate with the browsers, but it will first go and give your commands to the drivers, and the drivers will be going to the browsers for executing the commands. And in Cypress, it's a slightly different protocol, and it's a custom-made protocol Cypress is using, because they directly inject your test script or the test commands to the browser. So it just work like the web application is overlaid to the browser. And in Playwright, it uses WebSocket protocol along with DevTools. DevTools is nothing but a set of APIs, and these APIs will communicate with the browser. So this communication is enabled by WebSocket. So I know like WebSocket, all these things are a little more technical. So what we can do is like I'll show you a simple diagram. So here, this is like the first one is actually Selenium. So the communication happening in Selenium is using the HTTP request. And for Playwright, it is with WebSockets. And the difference between this HTTP and Playwright means in HTTP connection, the client will send a request to the server, the connection will be initiated, and the response is processed and it is given back to the client, but the connection will be terminated now. And again, for the next request, again the request will be sent, connection will be initiated, a response will be processed and given back, again the connection is terminated. So if you have 100 requests, 100 times the connection will be established and 100 times it will be terminated. But in WebSocket, what happens is like the client will send a request to the server, and the connection is made, which is called as a handshake connection, which means after sending the response, the connection will not break. Okay, so just like a handshake that we made, if we made a handshake until either one of the person says like okay, they initiate the termination of that handshake, right? So likewise, the client will be sending a request to the server, the connection is made, then you can send, say n number of requests can be sent, and n number of times the response can be get back, and the termination of the connection happens only when either client or server initiates the termination. So that is the basic difference between these two. And the thing is, like in HTTP connection, because every time the connection is terminated, the performance or the execution time, it can be a bit lower. But in WebSocket, the performance and the time of execution is good, and that's why Playwright tool, the execution time is very good than Selenium. And the chances of occurring error in HTTP connection is more than that of WebSockets. But in Cypress, the test scripts or the commands that you are giving, it will be directly going to the browser, as I already mentioned. So what happens is, like when you write the test script in Cypress and you start executing, the Cypress will initiate a browser, okay, and it will inject your commands directly to the browser using a custom-made protocol provided by Cypress. And the commands will be executing within the browser, so that it has speed, and also the real-time loading, and the elements will be easily it will easily communicated. So that is the architecture of Cypress. So this is a basic difference between these three tools, and because of these there are some complexities also. Like in Selenium, the setup complexity is bit higher than the other two tools, because if you are working with Selenium, then like if you want to create your first script, then you have to think about a lot of things. Like you have to check out for the drivers, then you have to set up the base class, you have to give methods to initiate the browser. All of that is your headache. But in Cypress and Playwright, the setup is very simple. You can actually install these two tools by using a single command, and it will actually take up the responsibility of initiating the browser. And test runner framework. So test runner means, it's a set of code or libraries which help to execute your test script. It will actually trigger your test script. So and also managers. Okay. So in Selenium, it is not tied up to any specific test runners, but you can integrate multiple. I mean, based on the language you have chosen, you can use JUnit, TestNG, NUnit, and others. And in Cypress and Playwright, it supports Mocha framework, as well as Playwright supports Jest and Jasmine. Jasmine is mostly promoted if the framework is concentrated for BDD frameworks. So even if this is not integrated, Playwright can work. This Cypress and Playwright has inbuilt runners with them. So you can actually run your scripts, manage your scripts within the Playwright without even integrating this. But if you integrate this, if the framework you are going to construct is really big and you want to maintain it with a bulky volume, then I suggest like you can integrate with this test runners. Then the support. I mean, Selenium has a large and active community, because Selenium has introduced in 2004 the first version. So now it's 2023, so they have a very big community and it's very active also. You can check out. And also there are a lot of tutorials, third-party vlogs and app websites where you can get the informations and help for Selenium. And Cypress also. Cypress introduced in 2014. So they also have a good community. But in Playwright, the support is a bit minimum, because it is only a growing tool, like only 3 years. So the community is very less while comparing to Selenium and Cypress. But the thing is, like, it is powered by Microsoft, and I think because of that, people actually trust this tool more. And the real device support means you can work with mobile devices. Like in Selenium, it will not give you the ability for mobile automation, but additional tools like IAPM can be used for mobile automation testing. But in Cypress and Playwright, I would say like it will not support mobile automation because there are many other tools available in the market specifically for mobile automation. So I think these tools can be used particularly for mobile web application testing, and like I already said, like Playwright is having a mobile emulator. So I'll show you. See, this is the emulator which I was talking. This is the uh, official website of Playwright. See, this is the official website of Playwright, and so they have actually showcased how it should look. This is for iPhone 13. Okay, so this is for viewing how your web application will be looking like, and it's not mobile automation. And the CI/CD integration, all these three tools provide good CI/CD integration. It supports multiple platforms like Jenkins, Travis, Circle CI, then GitHub, Bitbucket. Most of the top CI/CD tools, these three will support. So, so these are the initial criteria that we will think when we take a tool for our consideration. And now we can just go and check out more about Playwright. So, since I already mentioned, Playwright is a Node.js based or like we can say like it's a JavaScript based tool. So we need a platform. Whenever we are writing something in JavaScript, then we need a platform to execute it, or platform to write the code in JavaScript. So we want Node as our prerequisite in our system. Just like if you work with Selenium, you know, like Selenium, the base is Java. So you need Java installed as a prerequisite. You have to install Java in your system. So here it is Node.js. And also we need an editor, right? Whenever we need to write some code, we need an editor. So for Selenium, we use Eclipse or Visual Studio. But here, this Playwright supports JavaScript, and for JavaScript, the most suitable editor is VS Code. So that is also necessary. And these two are our prerequisites, and after that we can give this particular command, that npm init playwright. I'll showcase these things. But we can give one command to install Playwright in your PC, and you can choose like whether you need TypeScript or JavaScript. By default, it will be TypeScript. Then you can choose where you have to dump your test scripts, and there will be, by default, there will be a YML file for you to connect with GitHub. And also it will install all the browsers needed for executions, and then we can use some commands to execute the test scripts. So so for Playwright's execution, initially what we need is a empty folder, and we'll ask Playwright to create the framework automatically. And if you guys want to know about how to set up the prerequisites, then I can say like if you want Node.js, you can Google it, and there is the official website. You can download the version of Node.js. The only thing you have to take care is like whenever you are installing Node.js in your PC, then you have installed Node.js, but your system won't know like where it is placed. So you have to set the environment variables. Okay. Just like in Selenium, you have to set environment variables for Java. Likewise, here also we have to set environment variables. And here, see, I already created one. You can click on new, and you can give a variable name and the a variable value. So usually, this node will be downloaded to C drive. See, here it is. So you have to give this path in the environment variables. And for the VS Code, you can also download it their version, latest version. And these two are just like installer files. You can click next, 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 and it's a fancy install. So nothing complicated. And here, so for Playwright, we have to first create a empty folder, and we have to tell Playwright, come on here, create your framework. Okay. So this is a dummy folder that I am creating here. And now what we have to do is we have to open this folder in VS Code. So an empty folder is here. See, nothing is here. So now what we have to do is like we have to give the init command to install Playwright. So for that we have to go to terminal, new terminal, which project you need. Since I have two projects, if you have one, this question will not be there. So test demo, I came inside the project. Now I have to give the command. So npm init Playwright. So this is general command. If you compulsorily saying that I want the latest, then you can give command like npm init Playwright at latest. So now see here, Playwright is asking us which language you need. So I need TypeScript, and now it is asking where I need to put your test scripts. So I am saying in the test, I am not changing anything now. You can change, okay, you can customize everything here. And it is asking whether you need GitHub workflows. Since I already showcased you that in the slide, it will ask for whether we need a YML file. So I am just giving true, okay. And now it is asking like, do you want to install browsers for you, or you can do it manually also. So I am giving like please install. See, now it is downloading the browsers for you, and it's completed. So that means, see, the empty folder is now filled with all these files. This is the basic skeletal structure of Playwright, which it itself created. Okay. So the first folder, it is GitHub, that we set true when it asked for whether you need a GitHub action workflow. So this is just for integrating GitHub. Now you don't need to worry about that. Can go with basics. This node modules is like, here the entire libraries will be stored. The Playwright libraries and all the packages will be here. And this is a test folder we have created. So in Playwright there is a feature like, if you give this as your test folder, then you don't have to mention, or you don't have to create separate folders, or mention, okay, this inside this folder go to that. So what happens is, when you give this folder as your test folder, then the script, when you give a test name, then the Playwright will be going and checking all the files in this folder. So, and it will fetch that particular file you asked to execute. You don't need to give the path. So in Selenium, you have to give like // you have to give the path. But here we don't need to give that. We can simply give, for example, by default there is a file, right? This is a test script file, example.spec.ts. So if I am asking it to execute example.spec.ts, I don't need to give it is inside the test folder or any other folders inside the test folder. It will directly go and fetch the particular file and execute it. And this test example is just like, this is also a test file. You can ignore that. This git ignore means the files that you have mentioned in this file, this git ignore file will be ignored when you commit this to git. And this package.json is also not required now. Package.json is a that file will be created whenever you work with a node project. This file will be created. This file will be there for Cypress also. It is to keep the versions and the scripts. These are for your learning purpose. You don't need that. When you are working with framework real time, then you can manipulate the values, but not necessary for the initial parts. And this is actually the brain of this framework. So what all things you need to work in this framework, everything comes, I mean the configurations that you want to work with this framework, that comes with the playwright config.ts file. And it seems like a bulkier file, but it is very simple. When you I will actually give you some intro for that also. See, the first line is definitely an import file. You can know these are all these keywords are. I mean, these libraries are actually they are calling it from here, and this is actually the export config. All the things inside this will be taken into consideration when you execute the test scripts. So. See, this is the test directory file that you have mentioned in the initial installation, which is this folder. So it is stored here. And see here, it is downloaded the browsers. The Chromium is here. Chromium supports Chrome and Edge. So it is installed Chromium and Firefox and also the WebKit. So just we can execute the sample file which Playwright has provided. Okay. So the command to execute it is npx playwright test, and then you can give the test script file name. See, there are 6 tests running with 2 workers. I will say about workers, but now you can understand, like 6 tests are running and it's running in multiple files. I mean multiple browsers. Okay, and we cannot see it, right? Why? Because in the configuration file, we didn't mention anything about headed and headless. By default, when you execute a script in Playwright, it will be going with headless mode, which means you cannot see it physically, but in the back end it is running. So if you want to see it, then you have to give a parameter like see headless, and you can give false because by default it is true. See, so now see the 6 test scripts are passed, and we can once again execute it. So it will take Chromium, then Firefox, then WebKit. Likewise, it will be executing. So this is WebKit. This is the inbuilt browser. And if you want to see the report of this execution, you can give. Playwright is actually giving you the instruction where which command you have to place. So this is the basic report of Playwright, and I know this this seems like you will not get much idea, but these all are custom things. We can change it accordingly, and see it is mentioning like 2 tests run with Chromium, Firefox, and WebKit. Okay, and it will show like how many tests are passed, failed, how many are flaky. So if some test scripts are getting passed sometimes, and when in the next execution if it is getting failed and it is repeating the manner, then it will show that Playwright will itself show that this is a flaky test. So this is a basic report, and we can go to some features of Playwright. I'll show. So the first unique feature that Playwright is claiming is their auto wait. So their mechanism of auto wait is, like in Selenium, when you take a command like click on a locator or click on an element, then you have to give a wait. You have to manage the wait explicitly or implicitly. You have to manage a wait there. Otherwise, what happens, like the page will be loading and it will go randomly and click somewhere. The locator will not be identified. We have to ask Selenium to wait till that element is getting appeared. But in Playwright, all these are actions of Playwright, which means the click action is here, nothing but click on an element, double click on an element, tap on an element, uncheck. These are all the actions. Okay, so these actions, Playwright is actually claiming that if you are clicking on an element, then Playwright itself will go and check whether it is attached to the DOM, whether it is visible, it is stable, it is able to receive the events, and it is enabled. These checkings it will do by itself. But in Selenium, we have to manually give functions for each. But Playwright actually handles that headache. So that is a good feature of Playwright, and they are claiming that because of this feature, they can actually reduce the flakiness in the script, and the execution time also will reduce, because in Selenium we'll put a lot of waits, or otherwise we will put a lot of thread.sleep. We'll sleep the code, but here because of this auto wait functions, we don't need to randomly give all these waits. We can give waits logically. See, if you are claiming that you don't need to put a wait, that doesn't mean that you don't need to give any weights in the code. You have to give the weights, but it's based on the logic. You should not randomly put some weights, wait for 3000 milliseconds and ask the code to stay there. But you can give multiple wait methods, like I can show. See, so this is a wait handled by Playwright, that is wait for event, which means it will, suppose if you are clicking on a link and that link is actually populating the data in another tab. So it went to another event. So page is an event. Opening a page is the event happened. So we can instruct Playwright to wait for that event to happen and then do the actions. So likewise, there are many waits. Another wait is, which mostly we will use, is wait for selector. Okay, in Playwright actually we need to write a method for waiting for a selector. We have to pass the selector and we have to manually build a function. But in Playwright there is a default method wait for selector, and this wait, what happens is like it will wait for a particular selector to be visible, enable, and then only the next action will be executed. So those are the auto wait features of Playwright. And the next unique thing in Playwright is it generates test code by recording your actions. Okay, so it is having a record and playback option. But I know, like, whenever we are going to switch to automation, when we hear like there is a record and playback feature, we have a tendency to every time use that. But this not only this, but record and playback feature is not all the time, it is not suitable, because if the web application you are testing is having complex scenarios, then simple recording and playing back it doesn't help you. And also there can be multiple test data to be tested. At that time also you will get complications, and if you keep the recorded script later, it will be very difficult for you to maintain. So this cogen functionality or this cogen tool, it is not using for recording the scripts and playing it back or keeping it in the framework, but this is useful if you are start working with Playwright and you need some idea about how the test scripts are going and what test script, what all are the steps you need, then you can use this cogen tool. And there is a simple command to activate this cogen also. So the npx, which represents node, playwright which represents playwright, and cogen is the tool command, and this demo.playwright, this is a random website. So if you want to record any web application, you have to give like this npx playwright cogen, and then you have to give the link of the web application. So what this playwright do is like it will open the cogen tool along with the web application that you have asked to open. And yeah, this is the cogen tool. It has multiple functionalities. You can record it, copy, and these three functions I'll discuss later. And here also we have, see, there are a lot of multiple languages available here. You can choose any language and the scripts will be changed based on that. And you can record. So if you are recording and if you place the mouse over, then it will showcase you an ID like something, right? So this is nothing but inbuilt locators for Playwright. So we know like in Selenium we will construct CSS or XPath locators. Here also XPath is, no, CSS is welcome, but already Playwright has some inbuilt locator functions, and when we record the script, mostly it will identify with these locators. This will work most of the time, but at some point these locators may not work. At that time we have to manually construct the locators, but it is helpful also. So if I am just clicking here, I am giving test and hitting enter, and I check this one, I checked all. See what all I had recorded came here, right? So we can copy this. I'll simply create one more file. This spec.ts is nothing but the file format, okay? TS means I am using TypeScript, so that's why it is showing TS. If it is JavaScript, we show JS. And here I can paste my code which I had recorded. See, now this is bulkier, no? If the test script is having say 100 steps, then this will not be easy to read. But yes, you can get an idea of where all the clicks went, what all the functions it took. See, it pre-fill like click, then fill is here. Fill means type something. Okay, it typed test, and I hit enter now, so it is press enter, and see it automatically checked, and here also click. So while recording also, it doesn't give any weights here because it is not needed. And we can execute this test script. So if I want to execute this test script only, I can give a keyword that test.only, so that this test script alone will be executed. So now earlier I gave the specific test script file name. So now I am giving the whole folder name, which is test. So now we didn't commented the multiple browser feature, so that's why it is opening every browsers. So yeah, it worked, and we can comment the rest of the browsers because every time we don't need Firefox, we don't need WebKit and all. We can work with Chrome. And when you check the reports, you didn't see any screenshots, right? The customers will be always asking for screenshots for evidence. So we have to showcase that the tool is having the ability to give screenshots as well. So now there is no screenshots. So we can add screenshot. In Selenium, we have to build a custom utility to get the screenshot, save it in a particular file, and we have to also configure with the file name. Like we cannot give unique file names. Like every time it will overwrite. We have to give specific timestamps, and all these are complicated functions for us. But in Playwright, these all actually handled by Playwright team. So we have to just give a command like screenshot, and see already 3 options are there. We can choose off, on, and only on failure. Mostly people will be using only on failure, but now I'll use on. And we can again execute the script. Now we can go and check out the reports. See, it beautifully captured the screenshot, right? And if we want specific screenshots, then we can actually give custom methods also, and it will take screenshots for us based on our requirement. But by default, it will take one screenshot for your test script. And so that is the use of CodeGen tool. And the next one is the inspector tool. So whenever you script something, you definitely have to debug it, right? So normally in the tools, we'll be debugging it like putting some breakpoints, and then we'll be debugging it, right? But in Playwright, you can actually, you don't need to give any breakpoints. You can give, but there is no need, because if you give await page.pause. So if you give this, yeah. Okay. So if you give a pause here, the script will automatically pause here, and the next steps we can uh, step forward. So this is the inspector tool. This is same as CodeGen. The only difference is when we put a pause, it will appear. The UIs are all same. And you can actually use, there is a locator feature. That means you can see what locator it is now going to. See, it tells you where I am going to click or do. And it highlights that particular place so that you know, okay, this locator is catched. If some locator you gave is not working, then also you'll get to know, like it not highlighted. And also here also we get a beautiful logs. See here, each and every steps have very meaningful logs. And the another feature is like we can we can select locators from here also. If I want to select a locator, then when I click on that, it will show, it will give the locator. I'll do another. See, it will give us the locator. So if you want to get the locators only, very easily you can catch it with this inspector or the CodeGen tool. So you don't need to manually go and construct the XPath or CSS every time. But yeah, you can use that too. So this is the use of inspector. It is very handy. You can step over each steps. It will highlight where it is going to click, and it will pass. So yeah, let's take a break.
So let's have a break for a while. Meanwhile, we can conduct a small quiz. It's like not complicated quiz. It's a small quiz. I welcome Chaitanya to. I hope you are enjoying the sessions. Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I hope all of you are enjoying the session so far. So now it's time for the pottery quiz. And first, basically the instructions are, I will be reading out the questions. And if you know the answer, you have to just raise your hand. And first two participants will be given the chance to answer. After that, we will be showing the answers as well. So, question number 1. What is the term used for the practice of using someone else's work or ideas without giving them proper credit on social media? Option A, trolling. Option B, plagiarism. Option C, memeing. Option D, hashtagging. Just raise your hand. You just introduce yourself.
I'm Anega. Option B, plagiarism.
Yeah, the correct answer is option B, plagiarism. So question number 2, select the odd one using in Selenium. Option A, class. Option B, XPath. Option C, pattern matching. Option D, ID.
Hi, I'm Sudarshan from Alamy. That's option C, pattern matching.
Yeah, correct answer option C, pattern matching. So question number 3, which programming language is often used for developing machine learning and data analysis applications? Option A, Java. Option B, Python. Option C, C++. Option D, Ruby.
Option B, Python. I'm Fawaz MD from Showdown Technology. Option B, Python.
Yeah, option B, Python. Question number 4, which is not a Selenium component? Option A, Maven. Option B, Selenium IDE. Option C, Selenium Grid. Option D, WebDriver.
Jinsy. Answer A, Maven.
So correct answer is option A, Maven. Question number 5. What is the character limit for a tweet on Twitter? Option A, 120 characters. Option B, 140. Option C, 160. Option D, 180.
I'm Mohammad Rashad. I'm from LME. Option A.
Allah, one more chance. Option. Allah, wrong answer. Yeah, only. Option C ആണ് അല്ല ഓപ്ഷൻ സി ആ പറഞ്ഞേ തീർന്നു കറക്റ്റ് ആൻസർ ഈസ് ഓപ്ഷൻ ബി 140 ക്യാരക്ടേഴ്സ് Question number 6. Which method is used to get an element from web page? Option A, search element. Option B, find elements. Option C, find element. Option D, get element.
Hi, this is Rijo from Alamy. Correct answer is option C, find element. Sorry, get element. Okay, option C, find.
Yeah, correct answer option C, find element. So that was the last question for Pot 80 quiz. I hope all of you enjoyed. Thank you.
Thank you, Chaitanya, for the quiz.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. So, can we start again? I think you are all refreshed with your coffee. Okay. So what we have just showed is like we executed this test script, and also we saw how the debugger or inspector tool is coming up and how we can inspect each and every elements there. And now I can give you some more ideas for Playwright. So when you saw this code, you might get confused, like every step there is a await, and what is this page, how it is declared. So in Selenium, when we want to start a test script, first of all we will initiate the browser, and we will first initiate which browser we need, and then we will feed a URL to that. So likewise that happens, but here now it directly called the URL. And what is this page here? So the page is not it is inside this curly braces, right? So in Playwright there is a feature called fixtures, which means fixtures are nothing but it's a common what to say, like it's a global variable, so that variable will be available to each and every scripts, and this page is coming from your config. So you have asked Playwright to run your scripts in Chromium. So first it will go and get the information of the browser, and it will keep in another fixture called as browser fixture, and in the browser there is another fixture as context and then page, which means say for example, suppose this is our browser. Okay, we chose Chrome for our browser, and this window, this is called as a context, and in this context we can take multiple pages, right? Likewise we can take multiple pages. And if I am taking just to show you an example, already we have one browser in the back end. So if we say like this is one context and this is another context. Okay, so the browser, the context and the page, here these three things will be handled in Playwright using fixtures. So the browser information is kept in a browser fixture, and that browser fixture contains a context, and the context contains a page. But we don't need to call all those stuff in our test script. We can directly give page as a fixture here as an argument, we can say. This async is a function, and why we need this async function is like JavaScript is a asynchronous code. So asynchronous means when you give 1, 2, 3 test scripts, test steps, all the 3 test steps or all the 3 commands will be executed all at once. JavaScript will not wait for the first step to be executed and finished, and then the next step. No, it will not do that. All of a sudden it will go and it will start executing every step. So if that happens, we cannot we cannot execute the test script properly. So for that we have to always keep this await command. We have to concatenate it with every test steps. Okay, and this await keyword is identified by this async function, and we are just giving this page as an information. We can say like we are giving the information of our page, which has eventually it has the information of the context and the browser, and we are just feeding that into our test scripts. So defaultly Playwright already initiated the browser, the context and also the page. So we fed that page, so we can directly give the URL. We don't need to initiate, already initiated in the backend. And this go to, these are all the go to is a function, but these are all the locator functions. Okay, I already mentioned these things. And see, here is a test and expect. Test, we are calling this dependency, or we are calling this library because we are using test keyword, or we can say this test as a function. And see, there is a brackets here, no? So this is a function. And in order to identify this keyword, we are calling the test and from the Playwright library. And this expect, it is nothing but if you use the Selenium with tested, you can know like we have assertions. So expect is an assertion to verify something. If you want to verify there is an element, then we can give like expect this locator is having this particular element. So likewise, it is just for validation. So okay. Another stuff that most of the customers might ask is like they'll ask for a video evidence. Okay, so in Selenium, recording a video, I cannot even think about that because it's very complex. So here we can give video. We have option. See, it has options for off, on first retry, retain on, failure. Likewise, retry with video, which means the test, if the test is failed and we have given a command to retry the test script, then that will work. So we can simply go with on. And I'll execute once again. We forgot to comment the pause. Yeah. See, there is a video icon, right? So the Playwright captured a video evidence for you. So we don't have any headache. So initial this will be blank because it will take some time to load that. It is also recorded here. So the evidence will be here. So we don't usually use the screenshots and also these videos on every test, but we'll use it for failures. Otherwise the memory, there will be memory issues, because if it is a long scenario and you are executing 20 different scenarios and putting every test script has a video, then it will not be good. And workers. Okay. Earlier when I executed the script, you saw like I had actually executed it with 2 workers. So I'll show it again. See here, see now there are 2 workers. So workers are nothing but batches. Like Playwright itself will go and identify the test scripts and it will separate it in different runners. So what is the advantage of this workers is like you can easily execute the test scripts parallelly. In Selenium, in Playwright, if the test folder is having 2 files, then if we put, see here in the configuration file, we have fully parallel. We can configure it with true or false. If we give false here, and if we are putting the workers as 1, then it will initiate serial execution only. That means one by one the test scripts will be executing. But if we are giving fully parallel as true and we are giving 5 workers, and if we are having 10 or 20 test scripts. These 5 batches will be executed simultaneously, and one by one the scripts will be executed. So in Selenium, we have to give we have to configure manually like the parallels running. But here we don't need to give any functions or anything, we can give it directly here. So fully parallel, true or false, and the workers. And this is nothing but the process environment .env.ci. CI means continuous integration. So if you are running your scripts from CI pipeline, it is saying like only one runner is only one runner should be used, and the other one is local execution. If we are using it for local execution, you can configure how many runners. So both actually comes here only. And this parameter is nothing, it actually retries. If your test script fail, then we can configure like here if the test script is running from the CI pipeline and it is failed, the number of retries is 2. But in local it is now configured as 0. If you want retries in local, then you can change the value here. And yeah, I think for the basic things you can you just want to know about this all, and you can play around. When you start working with Playwright, you can play around with lot of things, but it will extend the sessions time a lot because there are many features we can integrate with Playwright. And see, here we have a test result folder, and each test script, for each test script there will be a folder created, and we can have the evidence like the videos and all will be here. Videos and screenshots will be here, and we have a Playwright report folder where we can see the report.html. Yes, and next feature is trace. This is a unique feature of Playwright. That is, this actually helps for a base level of performance testing in our scripts, that we can know like at which how many what to say, like at which time it executed the particular line of code, and for the next execution did it take that much time. So we can see, or we can get the entire log from trace. So that is also only a parameter here. See the trace on first retry, it is now configured like that, but we have another options as well. See, we have off, on, retries on failure. So now we can put on. And I'll execute one script. So we have screenshots here, then we have the video recording here, and now this is trace. So here each action, see, it will show you all the actions you have performed as a series of screenshots. Okay, and whenever you are checking out on which action you actually which action you had done, it will highlight here. See, this highlighting here, and this is the action, and we can show like before that what happened, before it was unchecked, and after that what happened after it got checked. So it will show before and after action, and also we can see all the step-by-step logs along with the time, and if you are doing API automation, then you can get like the calls and the time and the size, and all those things will be getting here. So this is trace. Yeah, it's just like a series of test screenshots that is attached together. So this is a very good evidence. And this also like video, we don't need to always switch it on. We can use it on scripts when it is getting failed, or when it is failed on retries, then we can use this function. So that is about trace, and we can locally open it using the report, just like what I have shown here. We can click on that report and we'll be navigating to trace, and we can take Playwright trace viewer. There's a website, there's a link for Playwright where we can dump the trace file. This trace file is a zip file. See, this is a zip file. We can dump this zip file to their website. Then also we can get this trace, visible this trace. But earlier it was like we can only look the trace from their trace viewer. But now they have this advanced feature, like we can click on that trace and it'll automatically get open in our local host. So another unique feature of Playwright is the browser context, and this one is really important because when we are automating, there might be, mostly I saw it in e-commerce websites, we will click on an item and new tab will be opening, or new browser will be opening, and the rest of the test we should navigate to that browser. So in Selenium what happens is, like, we have to ask and we have to program Selenium that you stop execute in this page, you have to go to that page and you have to click on that page. We have to give everything here. But in Playwright, the context is actually it is handled very handy because of the page fixtures. As I already mentioned, the browser, context and page, these are globally available to the test scripts. We just have to say how many pages we need for one context, or how many context that we need for one browser. We have to just initiate it, and rest of it will take care by the Playwright. Say I already have one test script which will show the browser context. Okay. So here in this example, the first line is obviously import. The second line is we are asking Playwright to create one test in that format. Then this test function actually carries two arguments. That first one is give the name of your test script. Whatever you need, you can give. So since I am showing this a demo, I briefly gave some short names, but you can give it like verify this thing or verify the edit functionality. You can give the detailed test description sentence here. And this we have already mentioned. This is an async function. Async function means the function doesn't have a name. And here, see, this browser is the fixture used here. Earlier we used page fixture. So now the browser is taken. So Playwright gave us browser. Now we have to configure the context. How many contexts we need, and inside each context, how many pages we need. We can configure that. So if we need to configure it from the context level, you can use browser as the fixture, or if you need to configure it in the page level, you can give context as fixture. And if you want context level, you can give browser, and if you need page level, you can give context. Or if you don't need multiple pages, then you can the fixture can be page, so that only one page will be available, and default browser and one default context will be available in the backend. So here I have actually given a new context, okay, and I had stored that in the variable called context. And these are all TypeScript. I actually use TypeScript here, so these are all the keywords of TypeScript. We are actually declaring one variable, that's all. So the context will save the, this variable will save the one context, which means suppose this one is the browser. So browser we have given as fixture and this whole thing is a context. So I have opened one context in the same browser, and the next context also in the same browser I am opening another context, which means this will be the my first context and I will be opening another window, right? So window is what we can refer as context. And see, in page 1 I actually used context 1. I mean this context I have used, that is the first context I have used to get 2 pages, and the second context I have used only 1 page I have initiated, okay, and I have given page 1, 2, 3 both all the 3 pages different URLs I have fed. And I have closed the context, both context I have closed. Even if you didn't close the context, it will manually close, but in complicated scenarios, if you have integration test cases, then it will be a better practice to always close the context if you initiated one. And browser can also be like this, await browser.close or await page.close. Those are also available. So I'll put a pause here, otherwise you cannot see how many windows opened, how many pages are there. So now I am taking the other terminal for this particular project. Earlier it was this project, okay. So we'll get the command npx playwright test. I'm giving the file name and hit enter. So one test is there and one worker is opened. Yeah. So see, there are 2 contexts, and the first context is having 2 pages. I fed 2 different URLs to these 2 pages, and the second context is having this particular URL, which I fed only 1 page in that context. So 2 browser contexts are opened with one browser called Chrome. And in these 2 contexts, I opened multiple pages, 1 page for one context and 2 pages for the other context. Now, if you want to click on elements in page 1, then you can say like, see, this pause is an example. I want to pause page 1. So page 1 is having this URL. So I can use this function to page 1, specify that page, that's all. Await page 1 dot pause means it will only pause page 1. Page 2 and 3 doesn't have any connection with page 1. So similarly, if you want to work with the second page, you have to click on a locator in the second page. Then you have to specify like await page 2 dot locator. So I will show another example for that. Okay. So in this test case, we are actually going with the scenario like earlier I have mentioned, like when we click on a link, another page will be opened, and then we have to navigate to that page and click on some elements. So a similar fashion of test script is this. I have opened one context. See, I opened one context, and in this context I opened a new page called as page 1, and I asked page 1 to go to this URL. And now what is this means, this page 1 is having a locator. Okay, this is a locator as I already mentioned. So we are saying like this page is having a locator, and store that in this variable. It's just because it's for the easiness of coding. Like every time we have to await page load locator. Likewise, we don't need to every time click on that. Else we can store it in a particular variable and we can call that variable everywhere. So I want to call this variable here. I don't like to give this lengthier line here. So I stored it in the const here. So this is actually a different method of Playwright. This promise.all is a function. This function means basically I told now in order to reduce the flakiness we cannot use the timeouts every time because it will not be a good practice. We already said like Playwright helps to reduce the flakiness, and then we are putting on a lot of weights will not be a best practice. So instead Playwright is also giving us an option like promise function, which helps like what happens here is like it will first go and click on this particular element, okay, and then it will wait for this event. So I will click on a link, another page will be opened, and the Playwright will be waiting for that page to get opened. So it promises that both actions are completed successfully. So that is the function of this promise function. Promise function takes an array always because it has multiple lines to be stored, and we stored this in an, since it is an array, we have to store this new page also in an array. That's why it is having a square brackets. So we stored the new page information in this variable. Earlier, the example which I have shown earlier, we initiated the pages, we fed the URLs, but in the second example what I did is like I don't know which URL they will feed. It's a third party website, I don't know where it will go. So what I said to Playwright is like you click on that thing and wait for this event to happen. So I wait for this page to occur, and then I used this page and get an element, then yeah, I got this element, okay, and I am actually clicking no I am actually getting the element, and I am closing this context. We can just execute it. See, the new page is open. I asked Playwright to wait for catching the next element, for executing this line. Before executing this line, I asked Playwright to wait and complete these steps. And then it went to this particular page and worked with this locator. So then I closed the context. So that is the beauty of Playwright when it handles multiple browser context. And I already parallelly showed the demo, but one more thing I would like to show you. See, in all these codes, one thing I'll execute everything at once. Let's try. I didn't try everything. Let's try.
Yeah, we didn't commented this line. Yeah. See, each page, I told you, no, for each page it is asking for pause. So even though I clicked on run again, it will wait for next page, it will wait. Okay. These scenarios are nothing but I just randomly created to pop up that website and just click on somewhere and search, use the search button likewise. So I'll show you the report to show one feature. Some error. Okay. See, earlier, this was the report. Browser not new dot new context, browser dot context dot new. It looks like a code, right? So if you showcase this to your customer will say like, I can't even understand the reports. So what is the best thing we can do without integrating any external external tools to or external libraries to here? We can customize this report a little bit more clear. See, I have actually grouped some of the test steps into one test, like each line I have grouped into one test step. So, and I gave that name. So, here we can quickly go, navigate to Playwright URL, click on the search button, enter search data after hooks. Then when we click inside, we can see all these stuffs and also the time it took. Likewise, the reports will be there, and also the screenshot. I didn't turn on the video and trace for this framework. So how I achieved this is like that. See, I imported something, then I have this test, and here we have test.step, and I have grouped these steps together. I mean, I grouped it into a particular step and I named it with a beautiful, I mean, a clear, meaningful sentence, so that in the reports we'll get it and the customer can know, okay, fine, these are the steps happening inside the script. So we can give, since we are giving it, whatever we need, we can give. So this is a basic customization that we can do to the Playwright report without integrating any other dependencies. And also one more thing you can check out. See here, all the functions or all the lines I have populated it like one by one, right? But in a framework, in a real-time framework, you should not do like that, because it will be very difficult for you to maintain. So what happens? We can give some structure. So this source is the test file which I have, test folder I have created. For this test demo, we have this test folder, right? Likewise, I have customized this particular framework and I renamed the test folder as source folder. And inside this source folder, I have given few other folders to store the object repositories, like the locators. So every time when you are working with a framework, you have to always keep the locators and the script separate. Otherwise, what happens is like if one locator changed, the developers will change it over and over, right? So if anything changed, then it will be very difficult for you to go and read each test line and change the locator. Rather than that, you can keep the locators in a page object model. So here, instead of keeping it multiple files, I have used JSON for that. And in this JSON array, I have created one search UI. This is particularly I meant for search functionality or search test case. So the locators which I used in search test case comes from this JSON file. So in the test script, we can close the rest. So here I have the test steps, and inside the test step, test script, I have functions. So another practice is like you separate the locators from your test script, and also you have to separate the test steps as well. Test steps are nothing but the functions, okay? The functions you use in the test script. Say for example, here see here we have multiple things we are doing here. Like we are taking the responsibility of the new page, and we are doing some actions. Everything is bulkier in this test script. But in this test script, I actually categorized it into multiple test steps, and inside each test step, I had beautifully arranged it with some functions, and you can go to that function and you can check out. Like this is a file, and this file I have a class, and I have exported this class. See, there is an export command, which definitely means something is exporting, and here something is importing. Yeah, I have exported the file search, and this is actually taken here. See, I have imported it here, and likewise in the selectors also. Here, this file I have actually imported it in the step file. See, this is imported. So we can use the object repo files and the test steps inside our test script, so that our test script will see very neatly, and it is very maintainable also. And if someone is changing the locator, you don't need to look inside any of the scripts, because if one locator we can use it to 100 test scripts. So if you are hard coding it in the test script, you have to go to 100 test scripts and change it. So rather than that, you can go to the selector file and can change it here, and the 100 test scripts will take it from here. So likewise, you can actually arrange the framework, and this is a very basic structure for a framework that we can create. But based on your requirements, you can actually customize the framework, because Playwright is giving you the freedom to do that. It only needs one test script file, which we are mentioning that this is our test script file. Test script folder, and inside what all things you need, you can add it. Okay. So similarly, the other functions we already discussed. And one more thing I want to mention is like the timeouts. In the configuration file, we'll give the timeout. So this timeout is maximum time one test can run for. So that is another scenario. Whenever you are working with a web application, one time when you execute, it takes 10 seconds, and the next time when you execute, it takes 30 seconds. So you can actually raise it as a bug. How? Like giving this timeout here. Say now I am saying this is the timeout. So if the test execution is greater than this timeout, then you can raise it as a bug, like this was the timeout that we had discussed during the sprint planning or the development time. We have discussed and said this was the timeout, but now the scripts are taking more. Or you can say like for the last execution, the time of execution was this, we set this timeout, and now it is heavier. So that is a bug. So this will affect the entire test script. And this timeout is like the expect timeout. Expect I had shown you, like this is the expect. This is nothing but we are validating or verifying. So here in this line, it is actually verifying that the header is having this particular locator. So it is expecting that this locator contains this particular string. So to identify to expect this particular function, we can set a timeout. So we are saying Playwright, you wait for 5 seconds. If inside this 5 seconds, if you are not getting that element, then fail it. So that is what happening in the configuration file here. So I have given this timeout for expect keywords alone. so that the validation part will wait for this much time, and if it is getting over, then it will suddenly close the execution and will raise it as an error. So all other basic stuff I think we have covered. So yeah, and we can give another folder and keep the test data also. We can use CSVs, we can use JSONs, just like Selenium, we can integrate those also. And it's not that much, I know in Selenium, if you want to write or read a data from a file, we have to handle that file with some additional dependencies or libraries. But here it is nothing like that. We can just install some of the dependencies for CSV, or mostly it is working with CSV and JSON. We can install that and we can run it. Okay, so that is not so much complicated like Selenium. So I think I am finished with this presentation. I don't know why it is happening like this. Okay. So any questions? Yes.
Yes, if you have any questions, yeah.
Ma'am, is locators exclusively for Playwright?
Yeah, that get by role, and yeah, it is exclusively for Playwright. That's Playwright's locator. You can check out in their official website, and you can get all the locators that Playwright had actually provided.
Okay, and our product just transfers to Next.js framework. So does it affect how we write E2E test cases?
No, it will actually auto-locate your whatever. If you want to give an element, you have to give some IDs or class or some attribute should be there in the backend, and it will catch it. And if it is not working, then you can construct your own locators, just like what we do in Selenium and all.
Okay, does Cypress also support that?
Cypress, yes, I think, but I don't really work with Selenium, Cypress, so I don't much know about that. But I read like that. It's also supporting this locator functions.
Ma'am, one more question. What are your thoughts about component testing web applications?
Once again?
Component testing web applications. What are your thoughts about that?
Means what do you want to know?
Like is it better than E2E or like?
It depends actually. For customers which I have worked with, they always come for end-to-end testing.
Okay.
So they mostly focus on end-to-end, and they need mostly regression suits and all. So it depends on the project and the customer that you are working with. It's their requirement.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Parvati. I am working as a test architect with Reflections.
Okay.
And I primarily work with Catalan and Cypress.
Okay.
So my question is, you showed this async await, which gives the which is triggered parallelly. All those things will be triggered parallelly. So is there a way to include sequential execution in between those async awaits?
Actually, without await, it will actually work everything with parallel. When we concatenate that await keyword, then it will actually sequentially it will take. Each steps it will sequentially take. If you don't give any await keyword, then everything will be taken as parallel and script will not work. So when you concatenate this await, and await needs this async function to identify. So if these both combinations are there, then each test lines will be executed sequentially, like one by one it will take.
No, the question is, if there are 2 pages for a workflow, like in one page there are a set of 5 questions to be answered, and in the next page another set of 10 questions. So what I intend is I have to fill in these 5 questions parallelly, then in a sequential format click next and go to the next page, and then fill in this 10 parallelly. So
both page you need simultaneous working.
Yeah, I need parallel as well as sequence. So in Cypress they provide the CY commands wherein it will be executed sequentially. So such like that, do we have any features in Playwright?
So in parallel you want to execute both pages.
But those pages should be executed sequentially.
Yeah. in one script as one test
Yes,
script.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
I didn't work with Playwright for such a feature,
Okay.
but
Okay.
I will definitely check it out. Okay, you can actually. This is my email ID. I will also work around and I will definitely get an answer for that. I never come up with a scenario like that. I'll
Okay.
definitely look into that.
Okay.
Please give me your contact as well.
Yeah, sure. Do we have some AI features into Playwright? Do they have any plans to bring in?
Actually, that auto wait feature they are claiming as they have implemented this with some AI features.
Okay.
So they are claiming like that. For all the some wait inbuilt functions are also there. No, they are actually claiming they have used this AI for this wait to handle this auto waits.
Okay, okay. There are any dashboards for Playwright?
No, no, the reports only, and we have to integrate it with another like allure reporting for dashboard shown reports.
That comes in as plugins.
Yes, we can actually we can integrate it with Playwright, just like Selenium. That is some another methods. You can integrate allure reports as well.
Okay, okay. Okay, and the context that you were explaining, that runs always in incognito.
Yes. Every time it will be incognito, but you have you can actually inject the cookies if you need some credentials to be stored in the backend, and you have to inject it every time. You can give all these cookies informations. You can inject it to the context function, so that you don't need to if it is an incognito mode. Most of the time I also experience like we have one credential, we logged in, and if you have 100 test scripts to execute every time, you don't need that login. So we can give there is methods to give that particular information. We can inject it into that context, so that first time the credentials will be there, and we have to give that, and next execution onwards it will automatically start a new incognito, but it's already logged in.
With the help of cookies?
Yes, yes.
And does it provide cloud execution feature?
Not now, no.
And it can.
We have to integrate it with CI/CDs for cloud executions, Jenkins and all.
And integrations with Lambda test or browser stack?
Lambda test supports Playwright. They have the provision for that.
Oh, okay, okay. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Okay. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you for this wonderful sessions, and it's very useful for us. I think many of us will implement Playwright soon, I think.
Yeah, I also I'll be very happy if you guys implement Playwright, because I was working with it for the past 2 years, so I was really enjoying working with Playwright, and when I'm thinking about Selenium, I can't go back because it's that much user friendly for project. But it depends on you, the requirements of your project. For mine, it is okay and it's very good, and we are very happy with this tool. But based on your requirements and also the client's requirements, it might vary. But it's a good tool. I'll recommend. And please do, if you have any other doubts, please do ping me in this email. I will get back to you, and I'll get back to you too. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And Devcheta.
I'm so sorry I was not able to attend the session. Normally I will be here, but tomorrow there is something called Top 100 Coders. That is happening at Huddle Global. So we are the one who have to prepare to make the challenge for them.
Okay.
So there is a 3-day event challenge happening to identify the best coders in the country, and which is happening at Kovalam. So after 45 days of effort, like from around 4,000 people, around 69 are right now in the game. And now next 3 days we have to find, and those are many of the participants as well as the organizers there. So I was with them. Okay. How was the session? Nice. So which all companies you are from? Beagle is there. They are Code of Duty. Okay. Sanju, right? Sanju. Yeah. Muttur right now. This Carnival building. Yeah. Code of. Enfid Ayyapans. Indigen. Okay. Where is it? Okay. Alami. Okay. Okay. So, Fire Poetry, it normally happens on every first Wednesday, and this is the 109th edition, right? It started in 2013, and it is all about letting people come together with similar interest, find other people also of similar interest, and learn from each other. And also, something that is trending or something that is important, it comes into discussion. And we also just get through the what is happening in the technology world in the last 1 month. We will just do a quick roundup to start with. Okay. So it is also about creating a community. So each time after this thing, you can understand that you might not be seeing again, but you know that these are people from different companies. So if you want to join a community, that is somebody can take the leadership, create a WhatsApp group and connect with the speaker, as well as you can also plan for continued sessions in any of these technologies. If you want another session on Selenium or on Playwright or on Cypress or anything of that sort, that is you can continue discussion and plan for it. So do we have a QA community here in Technopark? No. Because we have likewise, that is we had previously when we had project management session, we have project manager community, agile community is there, quantum community is there, blockchain community is there, AI community is there, cyber security is there. So if you want to start a community, you can feel free to stay back, create a group, and so Sharon is here, Sharon can help you out in building that. Okay. And so Niji, I think she was when I was talking to her, she was thinking it as an online session. Initially, she agreed because we actually wanted to do this session for QA because Sharon also is in the QA team. So always we talk about all other technologies for developers, for AI, AR, VR, blockchain, and all those things comes there. But mostly QA is often ignored. So we just thought like this time we will do it for QA. And then we thought of, he initially planned for which one? Selenium. So initially planned for Selenium. Then we looked for it, no, let's go for Cypress. Then we thought like, no, we have somebody who is experienced in Playwright. Then we just thought like, why can't we start comparing and understand that is what are the benefits of each and what is the difference and which tool to choose and when to choose. Did you get that information after the session? Sure. Okay, good. So the job well done. Thank you so much, Niji, and every month, next month also, Fire Poetry will be there. If anybody in the team want to continue with QA session, if you are building a community, that is you can plan accordingly. Because when we started JavaScript, we started this session in 2013. Okay. So from 2013, it is almost more than 10 years. Every month it happened. Okay, so JavaScript, when we started, we just compared the JavaScript frameworks, then each framework had separate sessions. So when we start comparing, then we think like next should be a deep dive into something. So is there anyone who feel like that is you can lead a session? Please do let us know. Because you are also having a lot of knowledge, right? And it is not about one person coming and knowing everything and teaching others. It should be a collaborative knowledge sharing session so that you people also will be able to add much value. Audience will also be able to add much value. So do you actually want to create a community for QA? Sure. So, and it won't be just like in Fire Poetry every month it happens. You can also decide coming together and having session in Pravangur Hall or anywhere else. Fire Poetry we might be having limited number of sessions of QA, but if you start, it should survive and it should sustain and have some leaders and do it. So right now, previously on 100th edition of FAYA we did it for HR. And it is called HR Evolve. And as of today, I think around 150 plus HR are part of that community. And every month, second Thursdays, they meet at Travancore Hall. Okay. So it is a self-sustaining community. So as it is, so QA, I'm just thinking like starting something, and it is a great start. So Niji, thank you so much. I think your mobile has been ringing for a long time.